So here we are. We are with ABH from, where are you from?
Lowestoft.
From Lowestoft. And where is Lowestoft in the world?
Suffolk in the UK.
So it's up on the sort of east coast.
Yeah,
it's sort of like up
Norwich way, Great Yarmouth.
Yeah, sort of up in a place where nobody in the real world goes to.
Lovely
yeah,
seaside. Lovely seaside
Yeah,
as well.
the place that you don't go through anywhere to get there, do you? It's just like over there on the east coast.
That's it.
So tell us about the band ABH. Well, when did that begin, and who was involved in that?
Maybe a year, but before my time a little bit.
Yeah, go back a wee bit. Do you know, it's so long ago, can hardly remember now, but basically, I guess it was the late 70s, 79-ish, something like that. I joined a band that already existed, that was, I think, called Stretcher Case at the time, possibly, yeah?
Yeah.
And then, you know, we played around, did a bit of dance stuff here and there and so on and so forth, started writing a few of our own songs. And then the guitarist moved away, and then we looked for a new guitarist. And you know, we heard Steve was like, you know, on the market,
Right.
And went along to watch him play somewhere, and he was freaking awesome.
He was the Jimmy
He
Hendrix.
was freaking
The lowest
awesome.
stuff.
And it wasn't a matter of, you know, are we going to let him join? Man, it's like, are we going to be lucky enough to get him?
Right.
And anyway, so Steve joined, and
Yeah,
then
I was in a band called Anarchy Soldiers.
So I presume you were playing classic rock then,
Yeah,
weren't
this
you, when
one-
you were Anarchy Soldier?
Yeah, well, original. I thought I did one or two original songs, but yeah, mainly covers.
What, punk?
Punk, yeah, it's all
Yeah,
punk.
punk
Yeah,
covers.
we done one gig. It was at a mod. As a mate's, he was a mod,
Right.
and it's his party, his 18th birthday party,
Yeah.
and he said, "Do you want a band to play?" He said, "Yeah, why not?" There's all these mods, so we're
Yeah.
punk rockers.
Yeah.
So he started playing with his punk stuff. They all buggered off outside this village hall. Then we started doing the "You Really Got Me Going." Da, 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 da.
Oh, yeah.
They all come running back in. And we stopped playing and said, "We ain't doing that, fucker." They just kicked off after that.
Fuck the mods, yeah. Yeah.
That was a good laugh.
So ABH, so there was you two, and then you had another couple of mates?
Yeah, Tony and
Tony.
and Nigel and so on.
Yeah,
They were
Nigel.
already kind of in the band. We were the three of us, and Steve
Right.
joined us and
Yeah.
so on. But then we thought, we need a rebranding name and all the rest of it,
Yeah,
so on and
yeah.
so forth. And then we hummed and hawed over names for a very, very long time. And I said, look, you know, how about ABH? And they said, well, what about GBH?
Yeah.
I said, well, there is actually a band called GBH
Right.
in Birmingham, because
Yeah.
I used to date a girl from Birmingham, and she was friendly with one of them.
Right, okay.
And I said, I've seen them, you know, and they're a good band, but I don't know whether they're going to go too far.
Right.
So if we call ourselves ABH, I think we probably should go and say Grand. Trouble is that later they became really big.
They did.
And then it became
yeah.
a bit, I don't know, a bit embarrassing in a way. But Stephen probably can follow up on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, he met the
I met
GBH.
the bass player. Yeah, a random.
What,
I
years
did-
later or at the
yeah,
time?
just a couple of years ago.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I was doing a gig and the keyboard player was with me, and I said, because he saw my guitar, and it's got the Dan written on it,
Yeah.
and he said, my mate is in a punk band, he's in GBH. He went, nah, of course he ain't, nah, you're joking, aren't you? I said, no, he's in the audience.
Yeah.
And so we brought him backstage later, we had a right old chat.
Yeah.
But we used to slag each other off in the Sounds
We
magazine.
did a bit, yeah, we did a bit.
What, you became the
Well, they started it.
competitors?
They started it. He said
Right.
there's all these small bands call themselves ABH, like acting like they were some sort of superstars.
Right.
So you wrote a letter back to Sounds, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Getting like-
Because when I first saw them, I thought, oh, they're a good band, but I don't think they go too far.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
how wrong
yeah.
can you be? You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so Steve...
They made it massive in America, GBH.
Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway,
yeah, because the bass player lives in America now.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
So Steve...
randomly back just with his mate, the keyboard player.
So Steve buried the hatchet, shook hands, and
Yeah.
you know, mutual respect.
Yeah,
fist
yeah.
bumped, and
Yeah.
I think we're all good now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Only took 40
Taken
years.
a while.
Only took 40 years.
I don't think anyone can remember it, to be fair.
Yeah. So from the point of meeting, then where did you go to, like your first gigs? Where did you go from there?
Mostly we played around sort of like East Anglia, to be honest with you.
Right.
Well, I could tell you, when I joined the band, I went for an audition on a Sunday. I was given a nod to be in the band, and we played in the Gossips in Soho
Oh, yeah, I
on a
Gossips.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I remember Gossips.
Supporting Chelsea.
Yeah.
Gazza's Rockin' Blues was at Gossip.
I think they came to the
like a
back cave.
basement.
The back cave
And the back
after
cave,
or
I think, was
something,
for a while.
yeah.
Yeah. It was a good place, it was.
Yeah, because we supported Chelsea. They played at the Marquee that night, and we went on quite early, hanging about, and I think they turned up at midnight and played at midnight. It's about 2 in the morning.
Right.
Something like that,
Yeah.
And then we started picking up a few gigs in London here and there, because one thing led to another quite nicely. And
Yeah,
so, we slept down from East Anglia and so on. And then
And this was what, 79 sort of time?
Yeah, 80, pushing at 81 by now.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
okay.
like
Okay.
81,
Yeah. 81. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so things were going in a pretty decent direction. Then we played with the Addicts, didn't we?
Yeah, the Addicts,
up in Ipswich and so on.
Yeah.
So we kind of, would sometimes
doing the
London,
Falklands all the time. 82, that was.
God,
Was it?
remember
When
them,
the Alex,
yeah. So things were going really well, and then when we got into a recording studio, did some stuff up in East Anglia, and that was really good. And then built on that. Steve was a great songwriter, and was churning them out. And most of our songs, you could look at the lyrics. They're all basically, about what it was like
living in Thatcher's Britain as a teenager.
Living in Thatcher's Britain, So Kids on the Street, songs about our
What's
mates.
on the news?
Yeah.
Don't Mess with the SAS was probably a well-known song. And that was all to do with the Iranian embassy siege at that time.
Oh God, I remember that day.
Big,
I remember that day.
big news, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a Saturday afternoon. That was,
wasn't it?
And for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason I was indoors, and it just came on the telly, didn't it? Because everything just flashed on, and the SAS were coming down the side of the wall, weren't they? And they got onto the balconies, and it was amazing. No one had ever even heard of the SAS until that day, had they?
Exactly.
Yeah. They were all dressed in black, weren't they? With like balaclavas and stuff on.
That was amazing stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean that was a great inspiration for a song,
Yeah.
So what became of that song then? Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was about to say that song and so on. I mean that probably, I guess, arguably kind of became the iconic song because we recorded a video to that.
Right.
I think it's a pretty good quality video because
that's very good.
Because our former guitarist, his brother, John Brinton, he was basically doing like a film and media studies thing at university at the time of college.
Yeah.
And he basically said, look, I need to do a project. I'd like to do a video. The band's not great, so he did it.
It's a free video, basically.
Yeah, free video. But it was a really good quality one. So that kind of
Yeah.
became, I think, to a degree, maybe our iconic song. And I was going to say that later when I joined the army myself later and so on, and I did various courses. And I remember being on one course when I was there, I learnt Serbo-Croatian, so I have to speak Bosnian Serbo-Croatian and so on.
Right.
And there were 5 SES lads on the course with me at the time because they were doing their language course. They had to do that.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I introduced them to the song.
Right.
And they liked it. So it got the
thumbs up from the
SAS. Thumbs up to the real SAS.
Yeah, they'll be all right for security for us, there, won't they? Yeah.
Brilliant.
So from that point on, so the SAS song, where did that appear then? Where did that go? Did you put it out as a single? What did you do?
No, that was on a compilation, the Oi of Sex, the Oi albums. I think it was the last. Was that the last?
Yeah, the thing is with the Oi albums,
Syndicate Records.
I mean, I've got pick that one up down there, Steve, just to see up in that case. Yeah.
Oh, what the
Strength
for Oi?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I mean that's just for the camera really, but like. Oi albums were a set of albums that were basically put out by Sounds magazine, which at the time was the sort of basically then we had there were all the music magazines, weren't there? There was NME, Melody Maker. Gary Bushell was the sort of editor, or something to do with it. And basically, my mate was a photographer actually for Sounds. He got the job through Peter the Test Tube Babies. They took a picture of them at a gig, sent the or the Test Tube put the picture in.
Yeah.
He phoned them up and said, "Oh, can you give me some money for that picture?" And they said, "Well, no, but we'll give you a job." So they didn't pay him, so they got he photographed the Pogues tour, the Damned, loads of stuff. Gavin, who did all pictures of me, and but Sounds was our magazine then, wasn't it?
That's right.
Then it was different, more than NME.
Yeah, the different magazines covered different genres of music, didn't they?
So because Gary Bushell wrote something on us, didn't he?
He did actually.
Yeah, saying what was for Country Heroes?
I think it was. It was.
Yeah. Volume 2. Yeah, he gave us a little review on that.
What, you were on the Country Fit of Heroes too?
Volume 2, yeah.
What song was on that?
Wanna Write. 909 was it on there?
I think it was. Yeah, you're right. It was 999. Yeah.
2 tracks.
Another good song about being chased down the streets by the police.
So
this is what all our songs are about, basically. But I was going to say. Thing is, it was all about the newspapers then, Sounds and so on, because there was no internet in those days.
No, of course not.
Nothing at all.
Yeah. And basically, I suppose you put your songs forward to whatever compilations were coming up, and just hope for the best sort of thing, wasn't it? For them?
Yeah. You'd make tapes, and then we'd just post the tapes off and send them around and so on.
Gigs
and hopefully keep your fingers crossed that people will call you back and say, actually, come along and we'll give you a date on that time. But obviously a bit of risk in that and putting your stuff out there and so on, because we kind of lost control.
We've done, people claim to be record companies. Give you a demo tape. You got a demo tape.
A demo tape. Of course.
That only means we had, because we didn't live in London. And
Yeah.
that's the bright lights of us
Yeah,
really
yeah,
concerned, you know.
And so where were you doing with your recordings? You were doing them up in Cambridge?
No, we're in Ipswich.
Up in
Yeah, we've done Ipswich.
Yeah, Ipswich, a couple of
Yeah.
times there. We had a
Yeah.
really good engineer
Yeah.
and so on. And
We had the guy from the Alex, didn't we?
we did actually,
Who
Yeah.
produced their
Yeah.
Songs of Praise.
Yeah.
He was the sound engineer for us.
He was there. The
Yeah,
quality
yeah.
got better as we knew more as we were learning it going along
Yeah.
and so on. And the engineers and the people that we worked with, were better. The quality, definitely improved and so on.
I mean, you were fortunate, really, even getting recorded, because I mean, so many people never got anything
Yeah,
recorded.
we were.
I know loads of my friends'
Yeah.
bands, and never.
I think it was Jock from the Alex. Was that Monkey's dad? Is it? Or
Yeah,
something?
that's right. Yeah.
He's the one who really helped us, didn't he?
Yeah, he was,
used
yeah.
to say, "Oh yeah, good boys, that you know."
Yeah,
So were the
it was.
Alex from up your way?
They're from Ipswich.
Ipswich,
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
Right.
Ipswich
Oh,
based,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
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 Got some photographs somewhere on a gig when his dad was coming on stage and had us on his shoulders and was like, charging around. I mean,
Yeah.
not many dads would do that kind of thing.
No,
But, yeah,
great.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's how the punk scene worked. It was all very much. It was all DIY. And it was really genuinely DIY, weren't it?
Mhm.
I mean, all the gigs, all my mates said. I mean, that's how I got into it, through roadieing, really, for all my mates, because I was an actor and my mates were musicians. I was actually getting paid for being on TV. They were getting paid nothing for being in bands.
Yeah.
So out of the two of them, I thought, well, I'm doing better. But in the long run now,
Yeah.
I could still be gigging if I'd done a band member. And luckily I did it, because I'd be totally blacklisted.
We got
Yeah.
we got nothing, did we? We got paid nothing. We didn't even cover up the awkward.
no, of course
not.
We got free
No one
beer.
did.
We got free beer. That was a bonus.
I think the 100 Club, I think we got a tenner between us.
Yeah.
Hired a van and everything, didn't we?
Yeah, oh no, that's standard punk rock, isn't it? Because that's the thing with the Oi albums, like all these bands that appeared on there never got paid anything
No,
from it.
no.
And I was talking to Max Splodge, and he was saying how this album particularly, like,
Yeah, 'cause
really messed him up, because this guy, he was a
Yeah.
known right-wing extremist, and
Yeah.
and them being on it, because they'd done Top of the Pops. They had like, remember 2 Pints of Lager and a
Yeah, that's
Packet of
right.
Crisps?
Yeah.
A few other like really big songs that were Top of the Pops, and that finished them by being on there, because every time it was on the news, their name was next to it, so it screwed them.
Yeah.
And but so this whole, so it was all going really well. You're doing lots of gigs. The Addicts are recording you. It was all going great.
Yeah,
and
brilliant.
you're
Yeah.
in and out of London, which
For a teenager, it was a great.
but for that,
exciting
I mean,
times.
really, to get gigs in London then at places, because you played Skunks and them
Yeah,
sort of
that's
venues.
right, yeah.
Coming
I
from
mean,
lower
that
stock.
wasn't easy.
Yeah,
That
coming from
wasn't
lower
easy.
stock,
Yeah,
back in nowhere.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it really was about who you know then.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived in Wickham, which was only 30 miles away, and we had a big punk scene. And even a lot of our bands didn't get to play there. So it was good going, doing what
Yeah,
we
no, we
did.
were really fortunate.
Yeah,
on that.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
I also thought, degree that was, honestly, because we were good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought we had a really good sound.
Yeah,
we, had
yeah.
we had a good solid bunch of lads who would come around and follow us around the gigs and all the rest of it. So
Well,
it was
that
helpful.
helps sales tickets,
Yeah,
doesn't it? Because
yeah,
promoters,
it does, yeah.
I know as a
Yeah.
promoter myself, don't care how good you are, if you bring 30 people, if you've got a gig,
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, so going on then, we'll have to cover the bit of where it went wrong. So you're giving out all these tapes to all these
Yeah.
different people who are supposed record companies
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not really knowing any of who they were.
No.
So you give out these tapes, and
Yeah.
then what happened then?
Well, we kind of reached a level where we were going to go further or not to a degree, and then one of the tapes, sadly got out into the wrong hands and so on, and we were like, I guess we were talking earlier and so on. In modern parlance, you could say to a degree that we were kind of groomed in a way, So the studio approached and said, look, would you record this? You got a new song? I said, yeah, we've got a new song. We want to try something different out. I sang in a different way than usual in the song, so we were experimenting with some new stuff. It was all about experimenting, to be honest with you. So rather than giving it the roar and the shout and so on, I was trying to sing in a different way.
Try to sing.
Yeah, try to sing. Actually, on the side of this one, because these guys are much more musical than I am. And I remember one time in a gig and so on, a practice session we were playing, and they all said, "Oh, musically really strong." And they said, "Pete, well done on that one. You sang that whole song in key."
Right.
And I said, "Did I?"
Great. Yeah.
Anyway, but that aside, so we tried something new and all the rest of it and so on. These guys said, "Yeah, come down and record this song and see what you think." And so on. It was a little kind of tiny little 6-track thing in London somewhere, maybe even a 4-track, to be honest with you. So we did it, but and then we left it at that, and never thought much more about it, to be honest with you. Then next thing we know, it pops up, on the circuit sort of thing.
Yeah.
Put out there on this white noise thing, and I thought, well, we didn't agree to that. We didn't sign anything.
Sign a contract.
No contracts, no agreement to that whatsoever.
Yeah.
And we lost control of it. Totally.
Right.
And then we kind of, we'd also, so that kind of created obviously a lot of, questioning in the band. Well, who did this? Who agreed to that? Well, I didn't know anything about that. And
then so you just literally sent this tape off randomly to whoever?
Well,
it was?
No, we didn't even send it off. They kept it.
Oh, really? What? They came to a gig or?
No. They recorded it.
They recorded it.
They recorded it.
Right,
and they had it there, and we. They kept it basically, and then used it as they wished, and we couldn't really, get any control of it.
Right,
because we lost it. Now, in the early recordings that we did in the studios, what you used to have to do in those days is you get a cassette tape of what you just do songs.
Yeah.
You would then post it to yourself in a recorded delivery envelope. Yeah. And you'd never open it.
Yeah.
And that was the proof that you had that. You had a copy of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But we had nothing on this at all.
Right.
Nothing on it at all.
Right. And what was the song?
That was Nerves of Steel, I think.
Right,
Nerves of Steel. That
wasn't even a great song.
Wasn't even a great song.
No.
It's probably why we kind of thought, that one, forget that one. That was an experiment, didn't work out.
Yeah.
But then, it popped up, sadly, as it did. And then it's been used time and time again. And I was sort of saying earlier, I saw an EP where that song was used with a Screwdriver song, and it was like put out a while ago now, and I only saw it a few weeks ago. Yeah. And I thought, what's that? Where did that get there? Yeah. Didn't even know it was out there. That one. So sadly, stuff popped up all over the show. I mean, we had a few other things that wasn't so bad though. People would they come up to the gig, and then whoever was controlling the mixing desk would sometimes take a tape into the mixing desk, and then record you, right? And then they would put out. So there's a few bootnets going around.
Yeah, that was standard.
The 100 Club.
Well.
Yeah,
that was out there as well.
Someone's recorded. Yeah.
But anyway, so. Yeah, there was tensions after this thing had happened as well, and the new sound wasn't really working out. No. And I kind of got to a point in my life as well when I wanted to do something else, so I went off and joined the army. Right. And I think you got a girl in, didn't you, to sing for a while and stuff, but it didn't really survive that well anyway. Really. And then there were tensions and this, that, and the other, but it was kind of I
actually gave up playing guitar for 20 years after that.
Did you? Yeah. So you never. So after that point of that being released on the White Noise label, you never played after that.
It actually destroyed the band.
Yeah, I'm sure
it did. That wasn't our intention. So we had nothing. We never met Screwed. I've never met any of these people.
No.
Yeah. Even the recording studio, they don't know what they were doing.
Exactly. And anybody just needs to read the lyrics. And we talked earlier about the songs. They're all about like Pistol Arrival is about our mates coming to see the gig. It was like Kids of the Nations, about kids running on the street. Emergencies, about being chased by the police. 999. All the rest of that stuff. Wanna Riot. Covered by Rocker is about basically being a kid in a village.
Well, that's the thing. That's another big point about all that.
You listen to all of our songs, all of the lyrics. There's nothing in there.
Well, you came from a very rural place, so you wouldn't have that anger of an inner city skinhead like some of us were. You didn't have that political edge, do you? So. And that manipulation at that time was just so everywhere, wasn't it? And we were all young, we were all uneducated. There was no such thing as a contract. There were people with money, and the rest of us without. And so it was just manipulation, wasn't it? And they manipulated our scene, and they fundraised, and they just grabbed everything they could, couldn't they, out of it, and just ripped us apart.
Most songs are like what we saw in the news.
Exactly.
That's what we wrote about.
And as we all did, that's all we thought about.
As I said earlier, there was some guy, this chap Matthew Morley, he put an article out about us a long time ago, about 10 years ago now, saying that they were ABH came out as a right-wing band and so on and so forth, in an interview in I think it was Young National Front Bulldog newsletter or something. Oh, okay, right. I thought, well, I never gave that interview. Of course, Steve was saying, you do that? No, nice or whatever. So we did that. Yeah. So I looked into it as much as I could in someone's reference, and it says there, basically who it was given by. It says anonymous. So no one did.
It's totally made up.
It was made up.
Yeah, of course it is.
Because as you said about a lot of these NF guys, Young National Front guys, they have other agendas. A lot of them totally whatever. And no one gave that interview. It was nonsense.
In them days, I remember going to football matches, and they were outside. They're manipulating us. A lot of football fans, especially Chelsea. I remember them lot used to be like a big hooligan, like all the hooligan films. Yeah. And after that, it's like obviously they decided that they weren't working. They go on to punk rock or skinhead.
Yeah, the whole agenda.
Just easy pickings.
I did a documentary a couple of years ago with Don Letts, and actually Pierce was interviewed on it.
Oh, really? I remember him. Yeah,
he was sort of head of the. He was the head of the National Front Youth. He was a bit of a weirdo from Dagenham. Yeah, gay, I think.
I remember that.
Yeah, and basically he said on this documentary that what they were trying to do, they wanted to get the leaders so the others would follow. So they would go to Chelsea or any of the football firms and go, right, get the top dogs, and then all the others will follow. And skinheads, punks, it was all targeting to try and get the mass. And they wanted chaos. That was the whole plan, was to cause chaos, because they were trying to, they had this idea, delusions of grandeur or what, but they thought they were going to do what Hitler did. And the idea being is cause absolute chaos, cause a revolution. Out of the revolution came the Phoenix and the new dawn arising. That was the whole sort of plan, which is, I mean, you've gone on to work in war zones where that's actually happened, isn't it?
Well, that's true, yeah. I spent a lot of time in war zones. I mean, my first one, it was actually, I mean, it was only 2 years after the band broke up. I showed you the pictures earlier. So I was in Afghanistan working, with the Mujahideen as a freelance photojournalist, and then for an aid agency out there and so on. Only 2 years later, maybe 3, in 1986.
Wow.
So there I was running around Afghanistan, me, beardy, all the rest of it, and so on and so forth. Living in these villages with these Afghan Mujahideen guys and so on. Carrying a English copy of the Quran that I was reading at the time, just so I could learn more about the culture and so on.
Right.
The idea that person was some kind of fanatical racist and so on is a completely mental idea. I was risking my life with these guys, and they were protecting me, and the ones who were trying to kill me were the Soviets and so on. So I mean, we were a patriotic band. But there's a big difference between patriotism and nationalism.
Yeah, of course there is. Yeah, of course there is.
So we're a patriotic band, and at that time it was the Cold War.
Of course,
the Soviets and all the rest. The Soviets and all the rest of it. They were the bad guys. And so when I went to Afghanistan, I arrived in the middle of an afternoon, literally, where there was a bit of a Soviet offensive, and that night they bombed the village and they killed several women and children in the village that I was there. It was a grim time, to be honest with you. So for our perspective, basically, it was the Cold War, the Soviets and so on. That's one of the reasons to really why I went and joined the army as well, to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
But, the thing is, looking back now, 40 years ago, it's very hard to, with the headset on today and so on, to understand what it was like 40 years ago. It's a long time.
Of course,
a lot changed in the meantime there. So.
Definitely.
But in the end, I'm, as I said to you, my wife, 20 odd years now, is Georgia, from the Republic of Georgia.
Yeah.
A former Soviet country. So there I am.
Yeah.
Marrying a former Soviet. And anyway, so that's another story actually.
But that's the thing. I mean, I think that's what people don't seem to realise. People that criticise and like you say, these people who dig this stuff up on Google and make up all this fallacy. It was the Cold War. We had, 2 news channels, ITV and BBC?
Yeah.
We were being told what we saw. It was Daily Mail and The Sun. Yeah. That's all we had. And my brother was in the army. He was in Germany. He was in the 7RHA, and he was a forward advanced radar operator.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and he had 6 seconds if the war broke out, because the radar operators were the first to go.
Yeah,
right? So there was the Berlin Wall, and as far as we were concerned, there was going to be a nuclear attack at any time. So anybody that was saying, right, stand with us and we'll protect you, and we'll join us, go join the SAS, go to the Falklands. People, we'd go and do that, because they don't know any better. This is where we were at, wasn't it?
That's right.
And so it was such easy pickings for extremists to, be it left wing or right wing. It's very easy to manipulate from fear and non-education and ignorance and. And that's where it all come from, wasn't it? Really, and they were making cash out of it. And,
these right wing, loons and so on. They take a classically they take a kind of a half truth, as it were, and then they boost it up and so on and so forth. So they exploited, a lot of people and so on around about that time. When you said waiting outside the football grounds.